Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Asif Ali Sayed from the Department of Business Administration, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Today, we shall be discussing about the module Social Changes Model of Entrepreneurial Leadership Development of the paper Skill Development and Social Entrepreneurship. After completing this module, the students will be able to understand the social change model of entrepreneurial leadership, have an insight of the entrepreneurial leadership, and inculcate a mindset to help explore and lead in an entrepreneurial way. Introduction to Social Change Model of Leadership. Social Change Model of Leadership is established in 1994 by a consortium of student affairs professionals. This approaches leadership as a purposeful, collaborative, value-based process that results in positive social change. It was built upon the following assumptions. Leadership is socially responsible behavior. It impacts change on behalf of others. Leadership is collaborative. Leadership is a process, not a position. Leadership is inclusive and accessible to all people. Leadership is value-based, and leadership, the community involvement service, is a powerful vehicle for leadership. Perspectives and values of social change model. The social change model looks at leadership through three perspectives: the individual, the group, and the society. Collectively, it is based on 7 critical values and described by 7 C's. First, we will discuss individual values. Individual values, it refers to individual personal qualities which are attempted to foster and develop through supportive of group functioning and positive social change. In this context, 3 values are prominently explained. The first of them is consciousness of self, which is awareness of the beliefs, values, attitudes, and emotions that motivates one to take action. The second is congruence. Congruence refers to thinking, feeling, and behaving with consistency, genuineness, authenticity, and honesty towards others. Congruent persons are those whose actions are consistent with their most deeply held beliefs and convictions. Clearly, personal congruence and consciousness of self are interdependent. The third is commitment. Motivational energy to serve and that drives the collective effort. Commitment implies passion, intensity, and duration. Commitment is the psychic energy that motivates the individual to serve and that drives the collective effort. Commitment implies passion, intensity, and duration. It is directed towards both the group activity as well as its intended outcome. Without commitment, knowledge of self is of little value, and without adequate knowledge of self, commitment is easily misdirected. Congruence in turn is most readily achieved when the person acts with commitment and knowledge of self. Group values. It refers to those values which is essential for group effort leading to social change. It comprises of 3 values as mentioned. The first is collaboration, working with others in a common effort. It constitutes the cornerstone value of the group leadership effort because it empowers self and others through trust. Collaboration is to work with others in a common effort. It constitutes the cornerstone value of the group leadership effort because it empowers self and others through trust. Collaborative multiple group effectiveness by capitalizing on the multiple talents and perspectives of each other group members and on the power of that diversity to generate creative solutions and actions. Collaboration empowers each individual best when there is a clear-cut division of labor. The second is common purpose, working with shared aims and values. It facilitates the group's ability to engage in collective analysis of the issues at hand and the task to be undertaken. Common purpose means to work with shared aims and values. It facilitates the group's ability to engage in collective analysis of the issues at hand and the task to be undertaken. Common purpose is best achieved when all the members in the group share in the vision and participate actively in articulating the purpose and goals of the leadership development activity. Recognizing the common purpose and mission of the group helps to generate the high level of trust that any successful collaboration requires. Controversy with civility is the third. It recognizes two fundamental realities of any creative group effort. Those differences in viewpoint are inevitable and that such differences must be aired openly but with civility. Civility implies respect for others, a willingness to hear each other's views and the exercise of restraint in criticizing the views and actions of others. This is best achieved in a collaborative framework and when a common purpose has been identified. Controversy, like conflict or confrontation, can often lead to new creative solutions to problems, especially when it occurs in an atmosphere of civility, collaboration and common purpose. Now we look at the next dimension, which is called as community or societal values. This contains one variable which is called as citizenship. Community or societal values. Citizenship is the process whereby the individual and the collaborative group becomes responsibly connected to the community and the society through the leadership development activity. To be a good citizen is to work for positive change on behalf of others and the community. Citizenship thus acknowledges the interdependence of all who are involved in or affected by these efforts. It recognizes that the common purpose of the group must incorporate a sense of concern for the rights and welfares of all those who might be affected by the group's efforts. Good citizenship thus recognizes that effective democracy involves individual responsibility as well as individual rights. Coming down to the aspect of citizenship within community and societal value, this is a process whereby the individual and the collaborative group becomes responsibly connected to the community and the society through the leadership experience. Change is treated as the 8th C. It gives meaning and purpose to the 7 C's. In other words, change is the ultimate goal. Repeat, change is treated as the 8th C. It gives meaning and purpose to the 7 C's. In other words, change is the ultimate goal of the creative process of leadership, that is, to make a better world and a better society for self and others. Primary goals of social change management. The model has two primary goals: to enhance learning and development of entrepreneurship, managers and leaders to develop each in a greater extent. Self-knowledge, understanding of one's talents, values, interests, especially as these relate to one's capacity to provide effective leadership. And leadership competence, the capacity to mobilize oneself and others to serve and work collaboratively. To facilitate positive social change at the institution or in the community, that is, to undertake actions, this will help the institution or community to function more effectively and humanely. Entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurship is the heart of the national advantage, and entrepreneurship is of eminent importance for carrying out innovations and to have competitive advantages from the competitor. Porter, 1990. In general, entrepreneurship is the quest of opportunity beyond the assets and resources one controls in current business opportunity. In general, leadership comprises of strategic vision combined with the capacity to influence, motivate and stimulate others through the frameworks, procedures and the culture of an organization. Entrepreneurial leadership is a combination of these two constructs, having and conveying the vision to connect with groups to reorganize, create and exploit opportunities, keeping in mind the end goal to increase competitive advantage. Entrepreneurial leadership includes running an organization through a variety of means through relationships and culture apart from directing and control. This requires seeing how to deal with and manage the hazards, instability and uncertainty that is faced by every entrepreneurial organization. If not handled carefully, putting organizations in increased risks, uncertainty and in the ambiguous world situations. Approaches of entrepreneurial leadership. The approaches can be grouped into 4 categories: conceptual overlap or intersection approach, psychological approach, contextual approach and holistic approach. Contextual overlap approach. This approach is treating both entrepreneurship and leadership as separate constructs, then finding common overlap between these two constructs. It points to 4 specific areas that are most relevant and common to both: vision, influence on both the followers and a larger constituency, leadership of innovative or creative people, and planning. This suggests a basic definition of entrepreneurial leadership as it is constituted by these 4 elements by Fernald et al. 2005. That is, it derived a set of similar characteristics common to both leaders and entrepreneurs: vision, problem solving, decision making, risk taking, and strategic initiatives. The intersection approach is that it is largely descriptive, not analytical or explanatory. It demonstrates only that there are aspects in common between entrepreneurs and leaders. The second one is the psychological approach. Psychological approach looks at the personality traits found in samples of entrepreneurs and leadership roles, like single-minded, thick-skinned, dominating individuals unlike managers. Now, entrepreneurial leaders are defined in opposition to managerial leaders and not in terms of a set of skills that can be learned or taught. Entrepreneurial leadership basically concentrates on inherent traits, not learned behaviors. Entrepreneurial leadership not as a collection of traits, that is, one who is, but as a set of behaviors, that is, what one does. So, it suggests that entrepreneurial leaders are those who enact the challenges of communicating a vision and influencing others to help them realize it. The third is the contextual approach. The contextual approach looks less at inherent aspects of entrepreneurial leadership and more at factors in an environment that condition or favor a specific mode of leadership and can be called entrepreneurial. The notion of entrepreneurial is an integral part of the organizational transition from startup to a steady state. The competencies necessary for a founding entrepreneur to lead such a growth include being able to evolve his or her leadership style to the changing requirements and complexities of the organization rather than, as is commonly recommended, relinquishing a leadership role to a professional manager. Cohen in 2004 defines entrepreneurial leadership as any leadership that creates a climate of entrepreneurial behavior. That is, create the right climate and you'll unleash the behavior that your organization needs to succeed today. In other words, behavior can be determinant of climate as much as determined by context. Moreover, entrepreneurial leaders can exist at the top of an organization or at any other level. The way in which they influence climate will depend upon their position. For Cohen, there is therefore little point in prescribing what it takes to be an entrepreneurial leader without first identifying the context. The fourth is the holistic approach. This approach is based on connect between notions of climate and context. In constantly changing markets, an entrepreneurial leader's ability to implement and support change in an organization rather than following or waiting for it to happen. Entrepreneurial leadership is defined as a part of the ability to evoke extraordinary efforts in others, which is in turn founded in the context of the firm's need to adapt to emerging environmental contingencies. Shuri and Ashley in 2007 defined leadership capable of sustaining innovation and adaptation in high velocity and uncertain environments that color their selection of sources. It focuses on three perspectives: transformational, team oriented, and values based. Characteristics of entrepreneurial leadership: the entrepreneurs always serve the society, being engine of economic growth, job creation, and prosperity. Their mission and passion are priority to customer with quality. The entrepreneur's life and works in an environment that is fiercely competitive. Therefore, it is crucial for the entrepreneur to sharpen the cutting edge to stay ahead. The entrepreneur displays courage to take the risk of putting his own money into an idea, courage to take on the competition, and to take a leap into the unknown future and create a new enterprise or business. This creative process is the lifeblood of strong enterprises that drives growth and propels the nation forward. The entrepreneurial activities blossom and thrive under conditions where citizens participate and compete in the marketplace under conditions of equality and are not unduly burdened by regulations. The entrepreneur will always strive for a neutral and sustainable enhancement of entrepreneurial society. Dubrin in 1995 has identified 7 characteristics of entrepreneurial leadership that leaders should possess to respond and to manage changing environments. These 7 characteristics are as 1. Entrepreneurial leaders have a strong achievement motive. 2. Entrepreneurial leader is highly enthusiastic and creative. Third, entrepreneurial leader acts quickly when opportunity arises. An entrepreneurial leader is always on the move and is searching for and exploring new opportunities, which is the fourth one. The fifth one is entrepreneurial leaders have a visionary perspective. The sixth being entrepreneurial leaders opposes hierarchy and bureaucracy. And seventh, entrepreneurial leader is always committed to excellence. Dimensions of entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurial leaders are individuals who aspire, develop and manage entrepreneurial enterprises. Entrepreneurial leaders must continuously acquire new leadership competencies and capabilities required for successfully leading competitive and challenging activities, both in new ventures and in established organizations. Those competencies dimensions are described herein. Risk-taking. Entrepreneurial leaders have been mostly characterized by their propensity and ability to take calculated risks. So, a competency of an entrepreneurial leader is the ability to accept risk, which is defined as entrepreneur's desire to absorb uncertainty and take the burden of responsibility for the future of the business. Risk-taking characterizes the entrepreneurial process and involves the entrepreneurial leaders the willingness to take moderate risks in committing resources to address opportunities. Entrepreneurs have a bigger risk propensity than managers, and that risk propensity was a vital component in entrepreneurship. Proactivity. Proactiveness defined as acting in anticipation of future problems, needs or changes, leaders or being active to create and lead the future of an entrepreneurial venture rather than waiting to be influenced by it. It is one of the competencies responsible for empowering entrepreneurial leaders in establishing new businesses and subsequently leading them to success and development. So, proactiveness is a typical quality of entrepreneurial leaders. A well-developed proactive competency improves entrepreneurs' creativity, perseverances to achieve the entrepreneurial vision and desire and intention to initiate entrepreneurial activities. The third is vision. Vision is the key factor in leadership of all leaders. It is meant to inspire followers towards goals driven behavior and from there on to the leader's vision. Vision is the key factor in leadership of all leaders. It is meant to inspire followers towards goal driven behavior and from there on the leaders take various actions intended to implement the vision, which provides a sense making components for followers. Providing a vision to followers is convincing colleagues to come along for the ride and achieve that which seems difficult or even impossible. The vision is how to get things done. One of the goals of a vision is to create commitment. People who enact the vision are committed to the discovery and exploitation of value creation, but also a vision helps human capital to develop entrepreneurial capabilities such as creativity. Thus, for successfully implementing entrepreneurial leadership, it all starts with a vision to create commitment and develop entrepreneurial capabilities to eventually stimulate entrepreneurial activities. Innovation. Innovation is a tendency and ability of entrepreneurial leaders to think creatively and develop novel and useful ways in opportunity recognition, resource utilization, and problem solving. In innovation, there are two types of innovation: disruptive and sustaining innovation. There is a lot of theory about innovation and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurial leaders are creative innovators who are committed to action and value creation. The innovations are critical outcomes of an entrepreneurial mindset, an entrepreneurial culture, and entrepreneurial leadership practice, as well as the strategic management of the firm's resources. The importance of innovation is characterized by creating value through innovation and employment. Shumter popularized the view of the entrepreneur as an innovator who undertakes new combination of productive means, creating new products, methods of production, or forms of organization. Next is experiment. Entrepreneurs have the urge to experiment constantly. That feeling of constantly experiment can result that through experimentation, advantage can be taken from opportunities. Entrepreneurial leaders are also trying to encourage others to experiment, not only to motivate people but also to generate different perspectives and ideas. Charisma. Charisma is one of the important dimensions of entrepreneurial leaders can't longer trust on him only but depend on others to achieve the goals. The leader must adapt to the needs of the people. To adapt to the needs of the people, a leader must be able to motivate, direct, and lead people. Creativity. Creativity is the production of novel and useful ideas in any domain. In the entrepreneurial context, it is more the ability to recognize entrepreneurial opportunities. Creativity comes from the unique ability to seek opportunities before anyone else sees them and results in identifying opportunities and bringing new products and services to the market. Entrepreneurial leaders can increase the creativity in entrepreneurial teams. Therefore, creativity is necessary and a key competence for entrepreneurs in order to specify limits through experimentation to take advantage of emerging opportunities. Social change model for entrepreneurial leadership. This describes the similarity of 7 C's of social change model with characteristics and dimensions of entrepreneurial leadership. The first one being, one of the characteristics of entrepreneurial leader is strong motive for achievement that comes from the leader's self-awareness of the beliefs, values, attitudes, and emotions that motivate one to take action. It is evident that the first value of social change model is one that is common to entrepreneurial leader. The second is congruent persons are those whose actions are consistent with their most deeply held beliefs and convictions. Entrepreneurial leadership is concerned with building up long-term reciprocal relationships along the value chain of an organization. The second value of social change model is having its presence in the way of entrepreneurial leaders. Third, one of the characteristics of entrepreneurial leader is committed to excellence. Commitment is the psychic energy that motivates the individual to serve. It is directed towards both the group activity as well as its intended outcomes. In this way, it is evident that entrepreneurial leader possesses the third value of social change model. Fourth, entrepreneurial leader drives the collective effort of people working with them. Entrepreneurial leadership empowers others for getting each individual best. The fourth value of social change model is collaboration, which refers to multiplying group effectiveness by capitalizing on the multiple talents and perspectives of each group member and on the power of that diversity to generate creative solutions and actions. So, it can be concluded that entrepreneurial leaders possesses the fourth value of social change model. The fifth, the basic definition of leadership is the process of influencing others for common goals, objectives, whereas the fifth value of social change model is common purpose, which refers to work with shared aims and values that confirms the presence of this value in entrepreneurial leadership. The sixth is controversy, which is conflict or confrontation. This can often lead to new creative solutions to problems, especially when it occurs in an atmosphere of civility, collaboration, and common purpose. When entrepreneurial leaders known to explore new sets of creativity and experimentation, but confrontation with civility lead to arrive the group on the best possible solutions. This is the essence of leadership and accepts it presence of sixth value of entrepreneurial leadership. Seventh, the citizenship is the process whereby the individual and the collaborative group becomes responsibly connected to the community and the society through the leadership development activity. To be a good citizen is to work for positive change on behalf of others and the community. Entrepreneurial leaders always serve the society and the nation at large, not by creating job opportunities and leading national growth, but also through the product and services by solving and prevailing common problems of the society and community. Now let us summarize what we have discussed so far. The summary is that it is concluded that social change model can be characterized as one of the models for development of entrepreneurial leadership because entrepreneurship is the heart of a national advantage and entrepreneurship is of eminent importance for carrying out innovations and to have competitive advantages from the competitors. Also, since the characteristics of entrepreneurial leader is a strong motive for achievement that comes from leaders' self-evaluation of their beliefs, values, attitudes, emotions, and it motivates them to take one or the other action. Hence, the entrepreneurial leader serves the society and the nation at large, not just by creating job opportunity and leading the nation growth, but also partners in solving the prevailing problems of the society and community. Thank you.